Welcome to Nac Edition. I'm Natalie Cripple. Today we'll be looking at the Texas governor race, speak with the provost of academic affairs, and dive into a local winery for the coming holiday break. Our top story is the celebration of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority's recent anniversary.
The Eta Epsilon chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated celebrates their 50-year anniversary here at Stephen F. Austin State University. Eta Epsilon was chartered on the SFA campus in 1972 by 12 determined young women. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is the first African-American sorority. The purpose of the sorority is to cultivate and encourage high scholastic and ethical standards, to promote unity and friendship among college women, to study and help alleviate problems concerning girls and women in order to improve their social stature, to maintain a progressive interest in college life, and to be of service to all mankind. I spoke with Marilyn Griffith Brown, one of the 12 charter members, and she talks about the journey to get a chapter at SFA.
We received our charter November the 19th, 1972. So it has been 50 years, charter. And we worked hard because we didn't have a lot of money back then. We had garage sales, we had bake sales, we raffle off baskets, whatever we could do to get money to pay for the charter and other things that we needed to.
The legacy continues. Over the 50 years, great service has been done from helping students move in, donating school supplies, and helping students craft. Community service is the driving force of this sisterhood.
As we celebrated our 50 years, we were proclaimed by the mayor of the city of Nacogdoches on October 29, 2022. Being recognized by the city displays the good works of the chapter and how we serve our community as a whole.
Eta Epsilon plans to continue achieving excellence and further the golden legacy. Back to you.
The Health and Wellness Hub is accepting donations for the Lumberjack Food Pantry. With the rise of food prices, the Health and Wellness Hub has seen an increase of students who are in need for this service. The primary purpose of the Lumberjack Food Pantry is to lead the way in the reduction of food insecurity on the SFA campus. Current SFA students who live off campus are eligible to receive 2 bags a month. Students who live on campus are eligible to receive 1 bag per month. Popular food items include boxed cereal, macaroni and cheese, pasta, canned vegetables, and tuna. If you're in need, don't be afraid to stop by the Health and Wellness Hub and pick up a bag. If you'd like to donate, drop off any non-perishable food items at the Health and Wellness Hub located in the Tucker Building on the southeast corner of Regay and East College Street. For more information about the Lumberjack Food Pantry, contact the Hub at sfasu.edu. The OMA's Fashion in Motion hosted their annual fall fashion show Saturday, November 5th, College Hill. This year's show was based off the college lifestyle at SFA by having the following segments: Homecoming, Halloween, Game Night, Spring Break, and SFA Grammys. The organization is known for spreading awareness about HIV and AIDS and promoting safe sex. The models have a sex segment, Game Night, followed by President Xana Blunskin and head model Rondesha Greer speaking on the statistics about and facts about sexually transmitted diseases and infections. They encourage using resources on campus like the Health and Wellness Hub and the Brown Family Health Clinic. Their next show will be in the spring semester, and they're ready to have a full house again. Yesterday was Election Day, and here in Texas, multiple seats were up for grabs. Some of the winners include Greg Abbott, re-elected for governor, Dan Patrick, re-elected for lieutenant governor, Ken Paxton, re-elected for attorney general, Glenn Hagar, re-elected for comptroller, and newly elected Don Buckingham for land commissioner. The turnout in Nacogdoches County wasn't as strong as the 2020 election, but voters still made their mark. There's around 39,000 registered voters in the county. The turnout was estimated a 30.7%, with over 12,000 votes in total being cast. There are around 11,000 votes in person and around 1,000 votes sent in by mail. For more information on the election results, just type Election Results 2022 into your web browser. This weekend, SFA is hosting Showcase Saturday, an opportunity for incoming students or transfer students to tour the campus and interact with organizations and community around SFA.
We make sure that every single detail is tailored to our students that we want to serve. So customer service is really important to us. Making sure that they leave with less questions than they came with is always really important.
Your showcase Saturday is planned to be the biggest yet, with over 3,600 people registered to attend and over 35 clubs and Greek life organizations registered. The Baker Patillo Student Center and the plaza near Surf and Steve will be the main areas in which the organizations and their tables will be located. But the tours will be taking future lumberjacks all over campus, including the Boynton Building, the Music Building, the Rec Center, the STEM Building, and the first floor of every residence hall. Showcase Saturday starts at 10 a.m. this Saturday, November 12th.
The School of Theater at SFA presented Lord of the Flies last week.
On a desert island will come to life on stage through the performance from SFA's School of Theater and Dance.
The School of Theater at SFA presented Lord of the Flies last week at Kennedy Auditorium. Lord of the Flies was one of the largest productions done by the School of Theater during this semester. The play also featured lots of freshmen and first-year transfers as both members of the cast and production team, which is something that the director enjoys seeing.
I always like to work with new students when they come to campus because it gives everyone else a chance to see them work and what they can do. It's also kind of the idea of spreading the wealth, as it were. A lot of times, people think you would see the same great actor all the time on stage. But I like to use new people because that's why we recruited them. We recruited them to come to our school to work and be behind the scenes and work on stage. So I always like to work with new students. It's real exciting.
The first-year transfers and the freshmen behind the production are also excited about being in a show this big and say it feels like home.
It's definitely been crazy, but throughout the help of Cleo and all the amazing cast and crew, it's been like a home here, and I already feel really welcome. It's been great, honestly. I've loved every moment of it.
Overall, the new students in the School of Theater seem to have a bright future here at SFA. Back to you in the studio.
Stephen F. Austin State University's Early Childhood Laboratory has been administered an additional $160,000 bonus to the original $800,000 amount through the Child Care Relief Fund. Recover from COVID-19 complications. It's currently being administered through the Texas Workforce Commission. The funds are set to distribute in summer 2023. The Early Childhood Laboratory plans to use the funding for professional development, supplies, personal equipment, facilities, and food service programs. To learn more about the Child Care Relief Fund or the SFA Early Childhood Laboratory, visit the links below. Stay with us. After the break, we'll have a special guest talk with us more about joining a collegiate system. Welcome back to Nac Edition. With us today is Dr. Lorenzo Smith to explain more about SFA considering joining a system. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on Nac Edition.
And it's lovely to have you here today. So one of my first questions is, SFA is coming up on its 100th year. Has there ever been talk about joining a collegiate system before, or why now?
There have been talks about that. Most of those talks have been informal. The president, the current president, and probably many of the previous presidents have been approached by various systems informally. And as you know, it really has not become such an important issue until recently. But it's nothing new. My understanding is that, as President Westbrook mentions, it's something that people approach SFA all the time about that. And it really speaks to the value of this university.
Yeah. And so can you tell me a bit more about the process of joining a collegiate system?
Sure. President Westbrook really has done a great job in kind of setting everything up. The foundation for the process is consultation. Consultation with the many stakeholders who want to have a say-so, or at least they want their voices to be heard. So it really began with the president kind of laying out the plan, and it includes, from my standpoint, reaching out to the faculty senate, to the dean's council, to the chair's forum, and getting information from them. And then specifically, it was a long list of questions that we sent to the president, who sent those questions to the prospective system affiliates. They answered those questions, and then we received those answers back, and from that we crafted a letter that summarized the strengths and weaknesses that we saw from our perspective to the president. Once we did that, the president then began to engage in consultation with the Board of Regents, those prospective system affiliates. And at that point, that's really where my role kind of tapers off.
All right, and can you tell me, what are some of the pros and cons of SFA joining a collegiate system?
Well, I'll talk a little bit about some of the concerns. And it was a potential con, and that is the loss or decrease of the identity of SFA, our colors, our logo, our mascot, and so on, and in our name, of course. And all of the prospective system affiliates says that's not a problem. You will be able to preserve that the name, the color, the logo, and so on. And so that was, from my read, was one of the biggest potential cons. There are certainly some additional cons. For example, when you are working within a larger system, you do have some inherent constraints within which you have to operate. What those exactly look like is yet to be determined. Should we go into a system? The advantages are you do have kind of some additional underpinning of financial resources that have not been previously available to SFA. And that's one of the most important things from my standpoint.
All right, and can you tell me more about the system committee and what their roles are like during this process?
So you're referring to the group of individuals selected from the Board of Regents?
Yes.
So those people were selected by the Board of Regents, of course, led by Chair Gant. They have a very heavy lift right now. And that is to say, at this point, they need to dig into the details. They need to talk about, for example, retirement. They need to talk about interest rates. They need to talk about bonds and debt and all those sorts of things that really most people, including myself, we don't grapple with every day. And so that committee does have a very important role right now, a critically important role, to ask the right questions and to really dig in deeply with all of those prospective system affiliates. I think they're doing a fantastic job based on what I'm told, but I just want to underscore and just let you know what an important role they have and how important it is for them to facilitate a process to get those questions answered.
Yeah. So what are some of the questions that SFA is asking the prospective systems?
Well, one of them, let's just talk about, for example, retirement and our investment portfolio. Those are two examples of questions that need to be addressed. How much are they going to contribute? What is the matching amount, for example, for when we put away for our retirement? There's a certain percentage that institutions match with. Is it going to be the same? Will it be different? For how long? So that would be an example. Another one has to do with just, again, the continuation of our identity. One of the questions that one faculty member asked is, if we were to go into the UT system, might it be UT SFA? Well, we keep our name, but it's UT in front of that. So those are the sort of details that they have to ask and get answers to.
All right. And so I know a lot of people have been talking about it around campus. How has the committee and everyone taken student and faculty opinions into this process?
They were integrated into the process through Vice President Brandon Fry. And so he led the process working with the Student Government Association, and they also came up with a list of questions that were important to them. Those questions were also presented to the president, and they got answers back, and then those students also had an opportunity at the most recent Board of Regents meeting to communicate to the president and the Board of Regents. So they, again, I just want to point to the fact that President Westbrook has done a great job in really making sure that as many stakeholders are included in the process, of course, including the students.
Yes. And so what are some of the benefits and opportunities that SFA students have if SFA were to join a system?
Mm-hmm. Well, it does sometimes, it could lead to potentially easier, for example, if you graduate from SFA to transition into a graduate program to a different institution, or vice versa. Okay, and so that lowering of the bar in terms of the paperwork is something that's good for SFA and for all of the other members within that system. That's one example. Certainly, we would be able to tap into some of the resources of the system. Regarding our software, for example, the students have access to the software, but it costs money. And so if we can participate in a licensing program where our costs are lower, that's a benefit to the students. Ultimately, it's a reduced cost for the students.
All right, and so more on cost. So how would joining a collegiate system affect SFA's outstanding debt?
Right. You know, that really is something that is going to be a function of those questions that are asked by that group engaging those systems. It's really hard for me to speculate because there are so many different moving parts around that discussion. But ultimately, in terms of what it's going to do to the students, I can tell you this: the Board of Regents, they're not going to move in a direction that is not best for the students, and that is what is most comforting to me. The Board of Regents and President Westbrook are committed to student success as well as staff and faculty success, but they're not going to do something that is going to jeopardize our ability to advance student success and excellence on our campus.
All right, and it sounds perfectly good and normal. And so you would say that it would just be for the benefit of students overall? I
think so, and that's what everyone has to realize, that, you know, whatever direction we go into, it's not going to be a perfect solution. Okay. And that's what people should understand.
And I hate to cut you off. But yeah, so we're not looking for perfect solutions, but thank you for talking with me today. And it's been lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after the break, and once we return, we'll be checking out a local winery. Thanks for staying with us. Come along as we adventure to one of the Piney Woods wineries and experience some wild science.
East Texas may be known for cattle, lumber, and oil fields, but it is quickly emerging as a grape-growing region and wine destination. The Piney Woods Wine Trail begins in Grapeland, Texas and ends near Pittsburgh, Texas. Red House Winery is just one out of 21 wineries and vineyards on the Piney Woods Wine Trail.
People know that Texas is definitely emerging on the forefront of wine production for sure. There's a lot of grapes grown in Texas, a lot of stuff happening in East Texas. Being able to provide, residents of Nacogdoches and the surrounding cities, something to go do, and also bring a piece of Texas wine to downtown Nacogdoches.
At Red House Winery, you can enjoy a unique selection of wine made here in Texas.
A lot of people know they can go to the store or restaurant and get a Cabernet or a Chardonnay or a Blush, but here we wanted to be able to offer some of the different grape varietals that are grown here in Texas.
Katie Cox, General Manager of Red House Winery, ensures you'll have a great experience.
There was nothing like this. Just a little short while ago, we didn't have the brewery, we didn't have the winery, Napa Valley wasn't open, and we didn't have a distillery. We just had some bars. I think what the owners wanted to bring was a really classy, kind of hill country inspired tasting room to this area. This is all of the art, the decor, everything is inspired by the hill country. That's where Ricky Lee Willoughby, the owner, was born. It's close to her heart. That's home to her. We have a monthly wine dinner with Chef Todd Barrios from the SFA Culinary Department. He'll come once a month and prepare a 4-course dinner, and we pair the wines with that. It's a ticketed event, and it sells out every month. That's, I guess, our main constant event that we do. We also partner with local charities like the Nac Humane Society, the Nac Cancer Coalition, and the Helping House here in town. And for example, like on October 22nd is our 3rd annual Helping House fundraiser dinner, and we're sold out for that. We do other little events as well for like our wine club members that are kind of exclusive. If you get the membership, that's one of the perks. You get to go to certain events, just restricted for them.
You know, we get a lot of students who are here from bigger cities, and so it's, you know, it's nice for them to, not that Red House Winery has a big city feel, but I feel like, you know, just with the experience, you know, that's something that you're used to maybe getting out of town that we try to bring here, you know, just with the different wines that we do have, and just the experience from start to finish, you know, from tasting to sitting down with a glass to hopefully buying, you know, several bottles on your way out the door. But for sure the parents the students have played a big part as well.
You know, a lot of college students want cheap options, understandably. I mean, you have limited funds. So we have really tried to bring in anything we can as far as like pop-up shops with little local boutiques that some of like the college girls would be interested in. We do like drink specials that night. We have started doing a like movie night here too, which we're about to release the info to. We're gonna have a big screen set up, and that's always a lot of fun. Everyone loves to go to the movies. And we're constantly like asking college age kids kind of what they're interested in, and it's mostly the price, but we do have a quality of a product. We can't, you know, have it super cheap. It needs to be a certain price. So it's a work in progress, honestly, being in a college town.
At the end of the day, we want people to know that this is a place they can come and hang out and have a good time, and always, you know that they're going to enjoy themselves.
You don't want to miss out on the fun. I'm Leslie Luna.
During COVID, many organizations at SFA, like the Environmental Education's Department, had to cancel their yearly events, but this year they managed to bring back their Wild About Science event, where kids from surrounding schools can come by and learn a cool thing or two about science.
Environmental Education Program Coordinator Alan Sowers is hosting his annual Wild About Science event at the Piney Woods Native Plant Center, where SFA students have a chance to teach elementary school kids scientific subjects in a fun environment. Sowers and his team check what the curriculum is for the surrounding schools, then create fun activities and workstations built around the curriculum.
The fact that the students retain the information much better when they are an active participant in the learning experience, and so that's a real positive for the students.
Sowers has different workstations for the kids to rotate between, with each one having a different subject for them to learn about.
We have some demonstrations that we do with them to show it's not just using the terms and memorizing, it's actually visualizing what they are.
It's just a field trip. You know, I can't tell you much memories of elementary school, but I can tell you about my field trips and where we went, you know.
Sowers intends to change the subjects each year so that returning students can learn something new each time they visit and make each experience more enjoyable than the last.
Just being able to show them that education goes beyond 4 walls in a school building. You don't just have to sit at a desk with pen and paper and write down everything to understand.
To learn more on Wild About Science, please contact SFA Gardens.
Thanks for joining us this week on Nac Edition. Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.